So I've just bought myself this Eheim Biopower 240 internal filter. It's basically based on a modular design, which means all of these come apart. And the reason for me to get an internal filter, to be fair, is actually for my Mbuna tank. At the moment it's running on two external filters, an Eheim and JBL, and I've got other videos explaining what filters I use on that tank. And I'm quite lazy with basically cleaning external filters, canister filters. I actually hate them, and so I'm not changing over to internal filters on that tank totally, because with Mbuna, anyone that's got that type of fish, they know they're dirty fish, and I don't think it's ideal. But I did want something where I could easily swap out carbon and phosphate remover. And that's why I'm kind of sitting next to this tank, which is my Red Sea Reefer 170. Because I'm not actually going to be using this filter for biological means. It's actually just going to be purely for carbon and phosphate removers. But I thought I'd have a quick look at it. You know, if you used to use it as well, it's intended, which is as a biological filter, internal filter. So, you know, I thought I'd give my thoughts on it. Again, I've got other videos on a JBL corner filter and also a Fluval U3 or U4 filter, which had quite a lot of comments. You know, people get passionate about the products they have, and quite a lot of people didn't agree with what I was saying. But actually, I think this video about this filter might kind of prove what I was talking about with the Fluval. Good filter, nothing wrong with it, but I think this is going to explain a bit more what I was trying to get at. So I'm going to show you the difference between the Biopower and another one they do, which is called an Aquaball. So the main difference is the colour. This is the grey one, the Biopower. The Aquaball is green. I think this has a slightly better flow rate. So this is the 240. This does up to 750 litres an hour. You know, I might be wrong, but I'm pretty sure these are a little bit more powerful. The main difference is with the Aquaball, the green model, it's sponges, pure sponges that come with it. With this, you get the 3 bags of a Substrate Pro or something. I forgot what they call them. It's got a strange name. You know, my Eheim canister filter is full of the stuff. But if you look at this, and for anyone running internal filters, this is quite important. That is a lot of biomedia, shall I say, for an internal filter to hold. I can assure you, most internal filters will not hold that amount of biomedia. No way. It's difficult, you know. It's almost a handful. So you've got 3 handfuls there. For an internal of this size, that is not bad at all. Most will not have that much biomedia. And as I said, if you go back to the Fluval, check that video out quickly, you will see the difference on the amount of biomedia that comes with compared to this. And you know, that was my bone of contention at the time on that video. I was saying, look, it doesn't hold much biomedia. A lot of people are like, well, I say a lot, about 4, but said, you know, it's a great filter. I wasn't saying it's a bad filter. I was just talking about biomedia and what, you know, what it's about, what you need it for. So this is a great filter for biological filtration. But with that being said, if you're after a filter to deal with particles or that kind of thing, you want to filter out actually parts, bits, call it what you will, then for me this is not the filter for you. Purely because the only sponge on this is this one, which sits at the bottom. So if I explain how this works, as you can see, this is open all the way around. The other compartments are not open. They're open at the bottom. So the water gets drawn in through here, comes up, and then goes up through all of these, and they all come apart. A bit like a canister, really, to be fair. And then goes to this section, which I don't know if I'm going to be able to pop this off without it going everywhere, which is probably going to be unlikely with one hand. There you go. Which again has just got a small sponge, and then it goes to the power head. So if you're trying to clear up a tank of particles, this probably ain't really going to work for you. Now, don't get me wrong, obviously, you could just stuff that with filter floss, which kind of would prove what I'm saying is a load of old rubbish really, but I'm just trying to make an example. You could fill it with filter floss, but you know, ultimately this filter, after the name Biopower, is designed to hold this sort of stuff. The nozzle, again, you're not going to be able to see it, is movable, so this will twist up, down, left, right, see that you've got good direction on it. And it'll come with a mini spray bar and just, I forgot what they're called, just a normal nozzle. Any aeration, never use these, they're horrendous, they just fill the tank with bubbles. Really don't understand the point of them. But as I was saying, I'm not actually going to use it for this, so this is almost a side fault. You know, when I do get around to cleaning my canister filters, I might chuck some of the old stuff out and replace with that, because you are supposed to every now and then, even though I never do. What I'm going to use it for is chemical filtration. And so it's important though to understand that is the space that you have, and I've got 3 of those. Technically, I suppose you could take the sponge out completely, but again, it'd probably make whatever you've got in the other 3 quite dirty. So that's the space you've got. I think this is going to work really well for what I want to use in it, for carbon and, as I said, for phosphate remover, but it's only going to work for certain types. And so, oh yeah, brilliant. Alright, fair enough, you can't see in there. Trust me, if you use this stuff, it's tiny. It's like little shards of glass almost. It's absolutely tiny. Let's see if I can get some out, because that's just bizarre otherwise. Alright, there you go, it's a bit better I suppose. Tiny bits. And so as a carbon, that ain't going to work in there unless you sponge it out, maybe like a fluidized reactor, you get the little sponges in there. But again, it's too much like hard work for me. I want something that I can dump out really quickly, and that's the problem that I struggle with this tank, is that when you're using for me, a fluidized reactor, when you clean them, they're just a pain in the arse. They literally are, and it just gets everywhere. The sink gets full of media, and maybe it's just me. I've tried many different types, and it's always the same. It's always messy, especially if you're using Roofrost, which is just a pain anyway. So I do swap around with products quite a lot, as I've said in a number of videos. I don't know if I'm trying to find the perfect product, but again, I like an easy life, and I think that's the way to go. So I went off piste a bit, as I normally do. This stuff, it won't work on, but the bigger carbon, just your cheap old normal carbon, no problems at all. And also, this is aluminium based. Some people don't like that, I know, but again, this is the phosphate remover, no problems. So essentially, I'm going to be able to fill up those 3 with whatever media I want, regarding whether it be carbon or phosphate remover. As long as they're big enough, I think this will do a really good job. I may probably keep the sponge in. I know it's a bit of a random video and a bit kind of all over the place, but the main thing is I just wanted to talk about it briefly, what I was going to use it for. And I know, people are probably going, well, why are you sitting next to a reef tank? If your sump's big enough and you don't want to use a fluidized reactor, use it. You could use something like this. I know there's set things for marine tanks and set things for freshwater tanks, but they can cross over, and so I think something like this could have a part to play. I'd lose the sponge, don't get me wrong, that's what I've got socks for, to clean out particles, but you could fill that with media. You really could. Fluidized reactors are the best way to go, but as I said, I normally find them really dirty, really hard to clean. So the sump on the 170, I'd end up losing half of them, so it wouldn't really work out. I'd probably only be able to fit those 2 on, so you wouldn't get much media in there. But I've had a Tunzi internal comb line filter before, which essentially is just a square box with a pump at the bottom and a lid with a skimmer, and you just put whatever you want in it, bag it up. Again, that would work really well. It would not be as efficient as a fluidized reactor, but I think you'd be more inclined to change the stuff out, just because it's easier. Again, as I was talking earlier about the canister filters, I just don't clean mine out. It just takes me too long, and by the time you do clean them out after 6 months or whatever, the flow's died off completely. So again, although I'm not using this as a like what it's meant for, for growing bacteria. I do think that if I had this and if I was using it for that, and so if you've got a smaller tank and you are going to use this, it's quite easy to clean, and I think you would keep on top of it. I think you would clean it. As I said, it's all modular. If I can get these on without breaking it. These modules all just fit together like so. Like so. It's dark grey, and also, even with the way it attaches, I've had internal filters and such that use magnets, and they're all exciting, but actually, the suckers, it's fine. And again, the way it attaches, there's no fuss, it just sits on there. So it comes out really easily. I've had some before where they've got these really smart systems to hold them in place, but again, they're a pain in the ass to take off, and all ends up going everywhere. So, quite a simple design. I think it's going to do the job that I want. If I was in the market for an internal filter, these review quite well. They've been around for a while. I think it'd be fine. It would do everything that I would need it to. For the Fluval, you fans out there, please don't hate me. That is a great filter. It's fine. But I just think this is, this type of filter has more flexibility, and I like that. I like things that I can do what I want with. So, rambly video, very quick. Quick look at the reefer. Coming on quite well. The SPS seems to be doing all right. And quick look at the 4-foot boomer tank, and that's that.